Nicolette? Nicolette? Guys, naririnig niyo ba ako?
Yes.
Nicolette, ikaw na. Mama ko lang po yung pabla, di pa yata na ako marinig.
I can hear you now, loud and clear. Nicolette, it's your turn.
How often do you see the word loading while accessing the internet? We, the researchers, wonder about how often do people experience this and what do they usually do when such things happen, especially when the factors that affects this are natural and or inevitable. The world is still developing and humankind still continue to invent things that helps our lives to make it easier. We believe that the human's best invention and innovation is the internet. Internet nowadays usually helps us to find things, to find a solution to our problems, to give a variety of answers that we need. Don't know the meaning of a word? Google it. Want to be a self-taught guitarist? Watch a YouTube video. Gen Z usually rely on the internet to find the solution for their problems. But what happens when the main problem is the internet? With this question in mind, we, the researchers, decided to conduct this study. Halfway before finalizing this paper, someone asked us about a question that made us really think. Just like the philosophy between the egg and the chicken, she asked us about what came first. It is the question or the answer. Almost all of us said that it is the question that comes first, and we defend it with all our might. However, she said that her professor told them that it is the answer that comes first. Just like how the relative literature and the relative studies are the foundation, the backbone of the study. So for our panel to further understand why we conduct this study, here is research handle to state our foundation, the foundation of the study, the relative literature and the relative studies. Go on, researcher Randall.
Thank you, researcher Iris. This study consists of 5 related literature and 5 related studies. We will give at least one each of these that is precise to the research topic. According to Beer, Dibayang the Basis, in his European journal entitled Comparisons of Academic Performance of Students in Online versus Traditional Engineering Courses. The traditional large classes had negative effect on faculty members and the students. And it is also stated that the online pedagogy is more efficient than that traditional class. But it can also encounter a lot of problems. Yes, there have a lot of problems that can be encountered on having an online class. The most likely is an unstable internet connection, and another is the problem on the gadgets that the students use. Specifically, the lag that may occur to disconnect to the meeting and cannot join again. Despite enhancement, average mobile and fixed line net speeds at intervals the Philippines still fall below the worldwide average. To stay with a service that tracks access speeds internationally, according to Speed Test International Index, same that in terms of mobile net speed, the Philippines ranked 103rd among 139 survey countries. The country's average mobile net transfer speed of 15.06 megabits per second was much below the worldwide average of 26.12 Mbps. For the past years, the Philippines' internet connectivity has developed and improved. From the average of 54 to 128 kilobytes per second, it goes to 1 to 10 megabytes per second. Despite in this improvement of internet connection in the Philippines, because they still from the bottom list of the internet connection in the world. In this kind of problem, in the country we're in, the internet availability is one of the major factors that can affect the performance of the students during online. So, here researcher Iris to discuss what our research talks about and what are the relevance of this.
Thank you, researcher Randolph. So based on the related literature that researcher Randolph states, we can see that the network availability really affects the performance of an individuals in their field. However, in this type of situation, it now becomes more crucial and more important. So the study aims to know if there is a relationship, if there is a significant relationship between the network availability and the student's academic performance. The study is entitled "Loading: Impact of Network Availability on Students' Academic Performance." The proponents of this study are researcher Hope Gabriel Bulaong, researcher Nicolette Chaudy de la Cruz, yours truly, researcher Iris Erfe, researcher Vincent Andrew Orog, and researcher Randall Sarmiento. To continue the presentation, here is researcher Nicolette to give the statement of the problems in this study.
So thank you, researcher Iris. So as we all know, for the school year 2020 to 2021, we are making use of the technology or the gadgets, just our mobile phone or the laptop as the medium for education. Just how the teachers teach and how us students learn. Just like how we are gathered here today in this Google meeting, it has been like this for the past couple of months. So I think our research paper will be essential and relevant to understand each other's situation and how each and every one of us are coping or adjusting to this new normal. So now let's talk about all the questions and the problems that we'll be answering and solving as we go to discuss our research paper. So this study focuses on the significant relationship between the network availability and the performance of the students in online class. So for the first question, how network availability affects the performance of the students online in terms of their first the type of network that the student uses. It can be the Wi-Fi or just their mobile data, uh, and in terms of the strength and range of the internet provider. So for the second question, with their internet provider, how do students participate on the following? First, attending Google Meet class, doing activity using various online applications, submitting school papers or requirements, and viewing an urgent and important announcement. So for the next and the last question, is there actually a relevant connection between the academic productivity or efficiency of the students and their network availability? So as we go through the discussion for the day, we'll be answering and solving each and one of them. So to continue the presentation and to discuss to you our findings, let us now call on researcher Hope.
Thank you, researcher Nicolette. Findings. The data were analyzed and the following findings were formulated in accordance with the specific given question under the statement of the problem. Sub-problem 1.1. How network availability affects the performance of students online in terms of types of networks that the students uses. 1. 30% of the respondents are using mobile data and majority of the respondents are using Wi-Fi with 70%. Sub-problem 1.2. How network availability affects the performance of student online in terms of strength and range of the internet providers. Number 1. In 80 students' responses, 55% saying agree that I have stable connection at home. 33.8% are disagree, 8.8% are strongly agree, and the remaining 2.4% are strongly disagree. 2. In 100% responses, the 61.3 answered agree that I did not have to be at certain place to get a better connection, while 25% are disagree, 10% are strongly agree, and the 3.7% are strongly disagree on this. Number 3. 52.5% are disagree to the opening menu related internet apps that did not affect to the performance of connection, while the agree is 37.5%, the 8.8% are strongly disagree, and the remaining 1.2% is strongly agree. 4. 50% are satisfied and 50% are not satisfied to their internet provider. Sub-problem 2.1. With their internet provider, how do students participate on attending Google Meet class? 1. 50% of the students disagree that their internet connection doesn't affect on how they attend Google Meet class on time. The 32.5% of the students agree that there is no effect at all, while 12.5% strongly disagree, and lastly, the remaining 5% strongly agree. The internet connection doesn't affect the time when they arrive at the Google Meet class. Subproblem 2.2, with their internet provider, how do students participate on doing activity using various online apps? Number 1, 45% students agree that they can open their camera without any connection problem. The other 45% disagree that there is connection problem when they open their camera, and 5% strongly disagree while the other 5% agree. Number 2, 70% of the students agree that opening the microphone of their gadgets does not cause any trouble in their connection. 5% strongly agree about this, while the 17.5 disagree that they can open their mic without any trouble in connection, and the remaining 5% students strongly disagree. Number 3, 47.5% of the students disagree that they can share a screen without any trouble in connection, while 42.5 agree and 6.3% strongly disagree, and 3.7 strongly agree. Number 4, 52.5% of the students disagree that the opening other online educational apps does not cause any internet connection problems, while 36.2% in the other hand agree that there is no trouble when they open other online educational application. Lastly, 6.3% strongly disagree and 5% strongly agree. Number 5, 60% of our respondents agree that they can respond to any urgent announcement without any trouble with their internet connection, while 7.5 strongly agree, 30% disagree, and the remaining percent of our respondents strongly disagree with the statement. 6, 52.5% of our respondents agree that they can fulfill their school activities without any problem to their connection, while 36.3% disagree, 6.3% strongly agree, and the remaining 5% strongly disagree with the statement. Here's researcher Orog to continue the finding study.
Thank you, researcher Gab. For the subproblem 2.3, with their internet provide, how do students participate on submitting school papers or requirements? First, 57.5% of the students agree that they can attend Google Meet class and answer quizzes without any internet difficulty. 28% of the students disagree, and there are 10% students that are strongly agree, and the 3.8% strongly disagree. Subproblem 2.4, with their internet provider, how do students participate on viewing an urgent or important announcement? Number 1, 61.3% of our respondents agree that they can view any announcement of their teacher in real time because of their internet connection, while 7.5% strongly agree, 27.5% disagree, and the remaining percent strongly disagree with the statement. Subproblem number 3. Is there a relevant connection between the academic productivity or efficiency of the students and their network availability? Number 1. 58.8% of our respondents agree that they can study efficiently using their internet provider, while 8.8% strongly agree, 30% disagree, and the remaining percent of our respondents strongly disagree with the statement. Number 2, 52.5% of our respondents don't have any trouble getting their lessons because of their good internet connection, while 36.3% disagree, 7.5% disagree, and the remaining percent of our respondents strongly agree with the statement. Number 4, 72.5% of students had their academic performance affected, and 27.5% were unaffected. So it is more affected because other students have difficulty with internet connection and they do not use the same internet provider. Some are not affected because maybe their connection is better. Lastly, 65% of our respondents agree that they are left behind on their tasks in school, while 18.8% disagree, 10% strongly agree, and 6.3% strongly disagree with the statement. And lastly, may I call researcher Nicolette to continue discuss the conclusion.
So, thank you, researcher Vincent. So now let's talk about our conclusion or the things that we can conclude after we finish and accomplish our research paper. So based on the results and findings of the study, us researchers concluded the following. First, most students in the La Consolacion University, Philippines are using Wi-Fi or wireless fidelity. Second, based on the acquired data, even though half of the target respondents is satisfied with their internet provider, the strength of their internet connection depends on the activity that they are doing. Next, according to the respondents, most of them disagree that they can efficiently attend Google Meet class on time, share screen without any internet problems, and opening other online educational applications. So, to continue the half part of our conclusion, here is Ms. Erfe.
Thank you, researcher Nicolette. So to add things about the conclusion, here is the other part. More than half of the respondents are left behind on their task in school. And using their internet provider, they can comply some easy tasks like opening a microphone and attending Google Meet class while having a quiz and etc. And lastly, based on the results of the study, more than half or 72.5% of the respondents, the availability of the network that they are using affected the performance in school. After formulating the hypothesis in the first part of our study, which is the null hypothesis, which is the online class for the students ineffectual and incapable, and online class gives flexibility to the students and easier access to the teacher, while the alternative hypothesis, which is the academic performance of the student will rapidly decrease, especially to those students who do not have the capacity to utilize the online class. Based on actual results and the findings of the data, the alternative hypothesis is proven to be true. Lastly, to end the presentation part, after acquiring all the data from the previous studies and from the respondents that the researchers concluded that even though some may not be affected, but still most of them are. The researcher would also like to recommend for the network providers in the country to conduct further study on how they can provide a high quality of internet service here in the Philippines. So that's all for the presentation part for me.
Congratulations, group number 2 from STEM 7. Proceed na tayo with the defense through Q&A. You ready na ba? So I'm now giving the floor to Sir Lloyd.
Okay, so ano gusto mo mauna? Good points o points for improvement?
Point for improvement po.
Okay, points for improvement tayo. Okay, now, your research is based, okay, solely on the internet. Okay, walang kinalaman dito ang activity na binibigay ng teacher, walang kinalaman ang student. Okay, na figure out nyo kung ano ang nagiging epekto ng internet sa mga student, no. Okay. So, points for improvement is that I think you should mention kung ano yung mga internet providers natin, you enumerate them, and then you you classify them and you define kung gaano kalakas ang internet na binibigay nila. Okay, just like Globe, Smart, ano pa ba, Converge, ay, meron pang isa meron pang bago. Okay. And then, um, another points for improvement is one of the significance of the study nyo, di ba, is mga internet providers, di ba? At yung government. I think it is better that you give them tips if they are going to read this research. You will give them tips on how to have a much better service na ipoprovide sa inyo, di ba? Kasi meron kayong findings eh. And according to your findings, majority of the students are being affected by their internet service. So hindi ibig sabihin na kaya siya maganda or pangit yung service nila, madami ang naapektuhan. Okay? At yun yung way kapag nagbigay kayo ng tips, alam nila kung paano yung gagawin. Okay? And then I think that's it for the points for improvement. And then for the good points naman, you have a good intro. Okay? And you have a good RRL. Okay? Magaganda yung mga nakuha. And then you are mentioning the importance of your research, the usefulness. Okay? In today's situation, maganda talaga. This is the research that I would like to hear sa case ko kasi ako ay teacher at ako ay gusto kong makuha kung ano yung mga na-experience ng bata when it comes to into me giving them activities. Okay? Okay. So, wala naman akong question. I would just like to say that your research is good. Why? Okay? The main reason is that many kinds of research can rise from the things na ginawa nyo ngayon. Okay? The internet. Madaming research ang pwedeng magsunod, ang sumunod sa inyong research like gaano ba talaga kadami ang dapat ibigay ng mga teacher? Ano ba yung dapat gawin ng mga student kapag nagkakaroon sila ng internet problems? Okay, di ba? Nakuha nyo? Madaming research ang pwede mag-arise from the things that you have done. Okay, that's why I like this research because of that reason. Okay, so with that, I don't have any question naman because you have your findings. Your findings are good. Okay, at wala man ako questions findings kasi yun ay yun yung talaga nakuha ninyo. Okay, I would just like to mention that kung magkakaroon man ng revisions, ay isama niyo yung mga service providers and kung gaano kalakas yung internet na sinasabi nila para, for example, next time, yung mga student, makapili din sila kung anong klaseng internet ang pwede nilang ma-provide. Diba? Yun pa, about sa internet providers. Para makapamili sila kung anong klaseng internet ang pipiliin nila. Okay, so that's it. And thank you for hearing this. Thank you for this research. Okay, thanks guys.
Group number 2, yung tips na sinasabi ni sir is the recommendation. Okay? Alright, so this is it. So group number 2, I'm now speaking as your panel and not your research teacher and not your advisor. Okay, so to have a objective recommendation, suggestions about your paper. Okay, ready? Okay, anyone can answer. Pero kapag nag-specify ako na everybody must answer, you need to answer. Okay? Alright, so what's good about your paper is that the objective is clear. Okay? Very good kayo done. So, I have this notion na before our concern is that everybody can't receive a complete set of books. Limited yung access natin for facilities and everything. But slowly but slowly, it was resolved. Tama? Now, our dilemma is not having a stable Wi-Fi connection and devices. So, group number 2, I need to hear your answer. It's a matter of yes or no only. You don't have to explain your answer. Okay? Would you agree that your topic is also political? Okay, so I want to hear Randolph's answer.
Yes po.
Okay, how about you, Vincent?
Yes po.
Nicolette?
Yes din po.
Hope?
Yes din po, ma'am.
Yes.
po.
How about you, Leader Iris?
Yes po.
Okay, exactly. Okay, I am expecting that kind of answer. Yes, it is political in nature. Okay, why is that our government can entertain very good internet provider? Bakit lang inipigilan? Okay, so this is the follow-up question now. Before pandemic, we are aware about the status of our country's internet connection. Hence, it was the major concern in, that's why it's your major concern in conducting your study. Sige nga, by doing your study enough, do you think your study has provided solution or help, or it was just more on emphasizing the weak connection we have right now?
Ma'am, we think somehow, even though it is not that big, we, we provided some solutions because we already know how weak the internet connection here in the Philippines. But in this type of situation where we are using the internet connection in such important matter, in studying, how weak is it in that area? Just like for the statement of the problem that we have, is do you need to be in a specific place to have a better internet connection? So some may think that, why do we need to be on that specific place to have a better connection? Oh, we think that we give a solution that can open a door again for the network provider in the Philippines to further study about how weak is their performance, how weak is their service that they are giving to the country. So I think,
Exactly. Okay, so this is my last question. So, based on the findings of your study, group number 2, students have this unique um, appetite in studying. So, do you think, guys, by having a stable internet connection, we can guarantee ba that these students will become more motivated in studying?
I think po, not completely, pero it will encourage us students more. I think po personally po kasi, when I was studying and the internet was very slow and I can't even understand the teachers, what my teacher is saying, I feel very unmotivated. But I can't even understand the lesson. So I think if there will be a better connection, us students will be more motivated because we can understand the lesson that we are studying.
Yes. Actually, this question is beyond, okay, the objective of your study. I just want to hear your side on this question. Okay, yun lang naman. Okay, Iris.
I agree po. I agree on researcher Nicolette said that it can really be a motivation for the students to further study. However, I think there still be disadvantages when we will have a better connection. As we all know, Gen Z are so engrossed um and became
Yes,
addicted to
Surgeon.
all. Yeah. They are engrossed to such online activities such as online games. So if we will have a better connection in the Philippines and that behavior still can be fixed, I think it could be another problem. Another problem would be arise.
Actually, dapat hindi nga natin problema ang internet connection. Why? Kasi nagbabayad tayo, di ba? So, dapat, hindi na siya dapat problema pa. Di ba? So, yun lang naman, group number 2, congratulations.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because sharing is caring. Bye!